Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and today we're doing an impromptu, as most of my videos are these days, one tabling session on 25 and now fast forward tables on Party Poker. The purpose of the session is to forget about volume, is to forget about everything else except making sure I'm taking my time over every decision and playing every hand as best I can, which is something I don't think any of us do, especially when we're multi-tabling. Fast forward. I think playing every hand as well as you can, giving every hand the due care and attention it needs, and taking your time over every decision when playing fast forward poker, it doesn't happen for most of us. When we're in the big pots, we tend to take a bit more time and we tend to try and play our best, but we spend, I'd say, a big chunk of our time autopiloting. So we can go through sessions where we deliver our A game, B game, and C game all within the same session. I think in the big pots we probably play our A game, in the semi-big pots we probably play our B game, and I think in a lot of the small pots we probably just play our C game and don't play too well. So we're going to be waiting for the action to come to us every time when we have a hand that might be playable. We're not going to be speed folding through anything, and we're going to probably play for about 40 minutes and see what happens. We are only 5 subscribers away now from reaching 1,000. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. We're going to make the 1,000 easy before Christmas, which was the goal, but the sooner I make it, the happier I'll be. And please don't forget to comment or like if there's anything you want to comment about. I'm not going to explain all of my decisions, like the trivial ones, but anytime we play a pot, I'm going to try and make sure that we play it with due care and attention. And we can let the Queen 6 go versus under the gun. It did make a small open, but I think we can let it go. I think spots like this is things where I have leaks where if I'm playing 2 or more tables, I see an ace deuce off on the button, I think fuck it, just fold it, get out of my life. I think a lot of waiting to steal from the small blind and a lot of waiting to steal from the button doesn't happen for me when I'm playing multiple tables, which I think is probably not the right way to do things. Waiting here to play the 7-8. I think we're going to 3-bet. Well, we weren't about to 3-bet because this guy's got like an 18% button open, but we've been beaten to the punch by someone who doesn't 3-bet a whole amount, so we'll just let the 7-8 go. I should probably explain my HUD, by the way. I'll play this hand, then we'll start to explain it. I think I explained it on the previous video, but we'll explain it again here. So we have top line, VPIP, PFR, Steel. I've actually forgotten what that one is myself now. I've recently modified it, let me just see. VPIP, PFR, Steel, then the 9's total re-steal, then the 8.9 is 3-bet and 48's fold to 3-bet. This second row is just VPIP, raise first in by position, under the gun, middle position, cut off button, small blind, and then bottom we have C-bet, fold to C-bet, turn C-bet, and one went soft flop. So there we go. Wait to open the 5-6 off versus someone who hasn't played a hand yet from 13. This guy's only opened 7% under the gun so far, but he's just 2.5 XT. King Jack's going to be a certain defend. We've got a 71% C-bet and a 67% turn barrel with a 64% woman soft flop, so it's a good spot to try and maybe set some traps. Hopefully he barrels the turn. He doesn't barrel the turn. He's going to lead out here, try and get called by Queen X, pocket aces. That's pretty much it, I guess. We get raised. I think I'm going to fold. Or maybe, it would depend on the size. If he raised big, I would definitely fold. Deuces would normally be like a snap fold for me, but when I'm playing, it's like two or more tables, I tend to fold the hands that don't play that well post flop. But given that we're going to be putting a lot more care and attention to what we're doing, then I think we can certainly open them. Not a good range, not a good board here for my range, and we also just have a weak under pair, so we're going to check back. Maybe we'll bet the turn if he checks to us again. He doesn't, so we'll fold. Two unknowns in the blinds. We're not going to start opening as wide as Queen 6 off just yet versus unknowns. I'm not waiting to open the 6-4 off suit blind versus blind. First thing I'm doing when I'm in the small blind is looking at the big blind. If the big blind looks like he's quite active and defensive, then I'll make a quick fold. If it looks like he could be stolen from, then we'll sit around and wait to see if we can execute the steal. Hopefully my stats won't be 15/12 by the end of the video. I just think we haven't had very good cards yet. More than I'm playing an excessively tight game. I'm expecting with his one tabling to actually have higher than usual VPIP and PFR. So we've got somebody who opens from middle position here, doesn't fall to a lot of 3-bet stock. I think we could get after someone who's opening 20% from middle position with some aggressive 3-betting, but not when they're folding to less than 50% of 3-bets. Ace-10 again is a hand I wouldn't normally open, but I think we can when we're going to be playing with maximum focus. And we've got two tight looking players in the blinds are waiting to steal with the 8-6. Well, Pete doesn't look tight, but he doesn't look like he's like the sort of player who's defending aggressively. And Tech Eye looks kind of weak tightish. Trump on defends a lot, so we'll just fold the 7-9, speed fold the 7-9. Unknown possible fish in the blind, so we'll wait to see if we can try to steal with the Queen 4. Jack 10 suit is pretty much an open from all positions under all circumstances. No need to look what's going on behind just yet because we're always going to open it. Flop and open end of 2 overcards. It's not great for, it kind of hits the small blinds calling range. It doesn't hit it, but it's not the scariest board for folds versus the small blinds calling range, but we do have plenty of equity. We turn the straight. Going to really suck if we get raised here, but we'll cross that bridge if or when we come to it. I'm going to make a pretty big value bet and maybe check back a few rivers. Doubt it, but maybe. Thinking at the moment we'll bet this river for like 25%, 30% pot if he checks. If he leads into us, I'm going to be a little bit sad. He does lead into us. I expect we're going to lose a decent amount of the time here to flushes and full houses, I guess, but we just can't fold a straight, so we're getting ridiculous odds. And that's why we can't fold, because people sometimes just bluff. Would have been a much tougher decision had he potted there or something. As it was, it turned out to be quite an easy decision. Gonna keep betting around. Half pot here for 3 streets. If we're allowed, of course. If he folds, we can't bet for 3 streets. Ten-iron or suit versus a complete unknown. Probably going to be a fold. Maybe we would have called if someone else had come along, but I think we're going to fold it in a heads-up spot. We will quickly cycle through hands that are going to be unplayable from any position without any explanation. Start tagging more players that are non-regulars so we can see them more easily. Non-regular or not though, we're not going to defend the 10-7. He almost 17% from middle position. He's folded to more than 50% of 3 bets, so I think we can take a 3-bet bluff chance here. You get 4-bet, super trivial fold. Really not a problem there. If someone's got like an over 50% fold to 3-bet, I'll usually go for a, not usually, but if I'm tempted to play a hand, I'll usually proceed with a 3-bet. I'd rather have seen his, for that to be really happy with the play, I'd rather seen him have a slightly higher VPIP from middle position, but again, the sample size isn't huge. It was only like 1,000 or so hands. If we're going to continue with the 6-5 there, I think we need to be continuing with a 3-bet. Rather, I don't like just calling. It's not a good option. We're going to get squeezed too often behind. We're going to be playing the pot post up without the initiative versus quite an aggressive player. So we are going to continue. I think we don't always have to 3-bet there. By the way, I'm not saying we'll always 3-bet 6-5 suited, but versus people who are maybe capable of folding, then I think it's fine to slip one in now and again. I think another benefit of playing just one table, if you're prone to tilt and what have you, I think playing one table makes you much less susceptible to actually going on tilt. It's you kind of keep yourself in check more. Everything's a bit slower. You can tell when you're starting to get annoyed. You don't get into the autopilot, oh, I'm really fucking angry, and just rhythmically folding or re-raising or whatever for ages. I think it's much easier to keep control of your mental game too when you are lowering your volume. So we've got someone here who's clearly not a good player, who's open for pot. I think we can play the Queen-9 suited here. It doesn't look excessively aggressive, so we might get to see some free turns, rivers and things. And it just looks like he's not one of the better players, so I want to be taking opportunities to play against weaker players. We're probably behind here, but I mean, we're just going to go folding a pair for 1-bet. We're going to see a turn card. And we're just going to give up at this point if he continues. And I'm going to expect to lose here. Can we go with an overbet maybe to get him off an ace or something? No, I just give up. We won anyway. There you go then. I'd be thinking he needs a bluff. And we give up and win. What did he have? Pocket 8s. Really don't like your c-bet with pocket 8s there. not playing the 5-3 under any circumstance from the button, so we can just turbo fold it. I'm going to wait to play the Jack 10, although Pugo is quite the defender. Not playing the 10 deuce. King deuce, for my money, it's borderline unplayable, even though he's just min racing the button. I don't think it's a profitable defend personally. Well, if it is a profitable defend, I don't believe I've got the skills to make it a super profitable defend. It's such a marginal spot. Even if it is profitable to just about defend it, big deal. It's king deuce. Let it go. It seems like a super standard start by checking to me. Not the greatest of turn cards. If you bet smallish here, I'd be tempted to just turn my hand into a bluff and go for a check raise. He bets just about 3/4 pot. I think we'll let the 10 go. It wasn't that drawy board, so it's not like we can put lots of semi-bluffs in his range. We can try and bluff catch versus. We check called the flop, he barreled the turn, he just gets to win a lot there. I think that's just how it goes. This guy forced to 74% of 3-bets over a smallish sample. So let's go for the 3-bet with our suited queen jack rather than call and risk getting squeezed. You don't win 50% of small blinds and folding to 75% of 3-bets. This hand we have here is utterly rubbish, but because he's folded to 75% of 3-bets, I think we can just test him out and just try and exploit that number on its own. If you don't win 50% of small blinds and folding to lots of 3-bets, then we should be able to 3-bet him with a super wide range and make money. And when we're 3-betting with 3 deuce, I guess we're 3-betting almost any 2 in that situation versus that player, until we feel he's caught up with our strategy and has adjusted to us. A call here with it's not particularly loose and aggressive. Behind us we don't have people that are excessively squeeze happy. This affects us might be a little bit aggressive, but I don't want to 3-bet versus someone who, albeit over small samples, only playing 12/4. We're going to check back here, and if he checks the turn, we're just going to bet twice. Don't want to walk into any nasty traps by just betting the flop. Now I think it's reasonably safe to assume he doesn't have an ace. It's just what's he going to do with parts of his range that are kind of made hands worse than an ace. I'm playing the king 9 suited in some way, I would imagine. Played some interesting pots with these guys this guy last week or so. This might be another one incoming. It's obviously a really easy c-bet here. good board for us to represent. We actually have a strong draw, and we just take it down. Again, 8-9 suited isn't a hand I would typically open from middle position. But given that we're one tabling and we're trying to target fishing blinds and things, I think we can do it. He's folded to 63% of C-bets over a small sample. We can certainly C-bet with a good shot versus him. He calls. You get a pretty rank turn. We're just going to check back here, try and hit a 6 for gin or an 8 or a 9. If we check back and he doesn't lead the river, then maybe we'll go for a bet. Probably almost certainly going to bet on that card if he checks to us. If he leads out, then he gets to win. So I don't think it's a straight very often here. It's just like how much do we need to bet to make him fold a pair. And we'll try that. And he called with just the deuce 5, which is, was it just deuce 5 he had? Fair play. Fair play to the man. That was a strong call with the deuce 5. And that interesting. Depends how our green tag is accurate. So we've got people who defend here pretty aggressively. Still going to open the 8-7, but we're going to be aware that we might get 3-bet a lot. Definitely checking back this pair plus a flush, player plus a straight draw. We want to see both cards here. We don't want to be getting raised off our hand or anything like that. We can certainly call the turn if he leads out. Imagine a 7's an out, a 9's an out, maybe even an 8's an out. Maybe we have the best hand. Maybe we don't have the best hand. Good shot. Backdoor flush draw. Doesn't fold too many C-bets. So we're going to go for a delayed C-bet here. He doesn't allow us to go for the delayed C-bet. Just fold our hand, no problem. Again, we have somebody here who's got like a 76% fold to 3-bet, so it would have been 3-bet in that hand had he opened. Not a big fan of shitty ace-x answering the cut-off. Re-steals 14%. I'm actually going to go for a 4-bet bluff here with the Queen Jack. He looks pretty aggressive. Not so much we can do with the 4-6 when a fish with no money opens. We have a guy here who opens 31% from the cutoff. How does he fold to re-steals? Versus re-steal fold 65%. Calls, which is kind of unfortunate. And then we have a queer situation where the board isn't great for us, but we actually have a top pair. Doesn't fold to a ton of c-bets. This 3-bet was kind of slim pre-flop. That's a pretty damn good turn card though, I guess. I just hope he doesn't have a set here, of course. He didn't. We got very, well, not very lucky, but we got lucky. We'll take it. Pre-flop there was kind of slim to begin with. There was a bit of a wing and a prayer, really. Maybe I slightly abused statistics there, but never mind. Still think it's okay. Someone's folded to 65% of 3-bets. So with 65% of re-steals, then we should be re-stealing against him a lot. Maybe we didn't shoot a particularly good hand to do it with, but it did block his 4-betting range. Or parts of his 4-betting range. Don't know, maybe I've slightly overdone it there and got lucky, but we'll take it. In fact, the more I think about it, the less I like it. But it worked out. We got away with one. I'm going to file it under got away with one. Don't think it was particularly good by me, but fortunately the board bailed us out. I'm going to call here, then raise some blank rivers. Don't think he has pocket aces. Don't think he has pocket kings. If we raise the river, he's just going to call with pocket sevens. So we can, I think we can raise this river pretty comfortably and not be too concerned about getting. If we get 3-bet, he's just going to have Jack Queen, and there's not much else to be said about it. If he goes all in here, he just almost certainly has a straight. But he isn't going to go all in with pocket sevens. Kind of thought this could happen, of course. We're not going to fold here. I think we've played the hand completely fine. I just think he's going to have a straight a ton of the time. Theoretically, he just doesn't have aces. I mean, what does he, worst value hands do he do this with? I think it's a pretty easy fold. Interesting. I think it took a pretty... I like my line. If we get raised on the turn, it's kind of horrible because he could be semi-bluffing still. But when you bet 3-bet shoves the river, it's just really hard, in my opinion, to try and make a case for always bluffing here. If he's not bluffing, then we're fucked. Maybe he has ace king and does that, but he probably 3-bets ace king pre. So happy with my line. I think it allows us to get maximum value from ace X and what have you, that just cry calls versus us when we raise. Yeah, in fact, I'm really happy with the line, really happy with how the hand was played out. Just obviously not happy that we didn't win it. But with the ace-9 hand that worked out and I wasn't happy with, now we've played one that I'm really happy with how I played it, but it didn't work out. That's poker. You guys might disagree with both of those hands for different reasons. And again, that's what makes poker interesting. But I think raise folding set of 10s on that river there, I think, in my opinion, is completely fine. And the only value hands that we lose to, that we beat, are pocket sevens and ace king, I guess. And I think he just calls with them. When we gets raised on the river and he doesn't have a straight, I think he just calls with everything that was value betting and only raises when he has the Jack Queen, in my opinion. This is a guy who looked us up earlier, isn't it? Just call or 4-bet here. I think we're going to call to keep whoever he is, keep him in. Interesting flop. If Gambler TT makes a huge bet here, I'm just going to let it go. Now we're going to just bet our hand, so some thin value, protect against spades. Don't think we can get called by worst too often there. Ace, Jack, Ace, Queen, maybe. Just going to check and hope he checks through. He likes the 3-5. He puts the pain on with the 3-5. Never mind. I don't think that was a great call. But he checked the flop when he floats the flush. He just calls a turn when he can just have lots of flush draws. I think we have to call. It's just not nice. And that's probably why we should just have 4-bet pre to just get people to fold out rubbish like that, but never mind. It's only 50%, fold into plenty of 3-bets. Yeah, I think maybe just 4 bet in the ace king there. But no, we called to keep the fishing, didn't we? And we wanted to stay in with those hands, I guess. I don't know. And the queen 10 off go versus someone who's got pretty tight opening range under the gun. I'm going to see about a gut shot here. Nothing much to say about that once we get raised. Of course. We're just done with it. I'm not going to 3-bet river checkmate here if he opens, but we're certainly going to defend versus him. Same goes against Shisuf, but he doesn't elect to try and steal from us. And it should sometimes be a 3-bet versus under the gun, but not when under the gun's only opening 11%. Shisev's quite a violent defender of his blind, so we're not going to try and steal it with 6 high. We won't be defending the 6-8 versus someone who's only opening 36% of buttons either. 6-4 suited, kind of close in the cut-off, but there's 2 pretty aggressive players behind us, so I think we can pop it into a folding range when there's aggressive players behind and raise with it when there's weaker players behind. These pocket 10s, if someone else comes along for a call, I think we'll play them. Probably would have folded them otherwise. Middle position versus under the gun. His range is just so strong here. Well, we're going to call now and try and flop a set. We do not flop a set. Yeah, so the ace king versus the 5-3 suited hands kind of put a crimp in the session, but never mind. It's disappointing when things like that happen, but they do happen. You've got to get on with it. It's just about as bad a flop as you can hope to see with the 7-9 suited. But he doesn't look like the most aggressive player, so I think we'll just like make a stab. Hope to pick the pot up. Some players I would never dream of doing that against, but players that look like kind of weakish and what have you. Right, so someone's limped under the gun. I really don't want to open myself up to a limp raise here, so we're going to do the over limp. I think when you see these types of players limping under the gun in these games, it's usually a prelude to a limp raise. I mean, if it's a fish, we can just isolate. But these like 27-13, so they try and get cute, and I mean, maybe he's just bad, maybe he is just limping wide, but rather just try and take a flop in position. If one of the blinds raises, we can make a decision whether we want to continue or not, depending on what else happens. He's only opening 23% from the cutoff, so we won't go for the 3-bet. Thug life. Pretty desperate flop here. We maybe go for check raise if he bets like 75 or something. With our like, we got 3-2 a straight, 3-2 a flush. He bets 82. I'm going to go for it here, and we're only going to continue on a hand that improves our equity, should he call. And we don't hit a hand that improves our equity. When he check calls a raise on that dryish board, he's just going to have a made hand pretty much most of the time. And the 3 is just a dreadful barrel card, both for our actual hand and for getting him off a hand like King X, or maybe get him off Queen X with a check raise, but whatever. Necessarily with the turn barrel. But I like getting after them on dry boards, getting after smallish bets. I like getting after them with check raises. People will like bet much higher frequencies and lower sizings on dry boards. So when people are betting higher frequencies and lower sizings on dryish boards, it's a good spot to try and look to get some check raises in. I mean, you're never going to find the perfect spot, but I think an overcard and 3-2 a flush, 3-2 a straight, it's not a bad starting point. I would typically try and play the 10-9 versus under the gun, but not when he's got that stack size. So we're drawing to a close on the video. Sadly, things didn't quite work out as well at the end of the video as it did in the middle part of the video, but again, it's 189 hands, it's nothing really. Sniffing a 3-bet coming here. Nope, maybe not. And there we go. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Yep, we did some interesting spots in it. Not too proud of the Ace King. I think if I went back and looked at that again, I could find some different ways to play that. Maybe just, I think, 4-betting it pre-flops. Probably the best line. But I'm not a huge fan of getting Ace King in pre-flop under the gun versus cutoff. I think when you do manage to get it in, I think when you get the 4-bet, you get a lot of folds. But when you do manage to get it in, you get it in pretty rough shape. I don't know. I think we can go either way with that because we did want to keep the fish in. We succeeded in keeping the fish in. Unfortunately, he just flopped us just about dead. But that's poker. Never mind. Any comments, any thoughts, please leave them below. If you haven't hit the like button yet, but you've made it to the end of the video, hopefully that means you've liked it. So don't forget to hit it now. And we'll be back soon again with who knows what from who knows where. Bye-bye for now.